Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. Xbox 360 controller is in sorry state. It needs a clean. These things just get dirty all the time. You know, you get bits of shit and stuff on the edges and all around the fittings. But can you see the thumbstick there? See how worn the surface is on that? I mean, it's, you know, it's, the rubber's just like worn away. And what happened to that one? That's just recently been super glued. I don't know if you can see, but like a piece of it just fell off. It's just that used, it's that worn. They don't last forever. And the other thing I need to do with this really, that I've needed to do since I got it, is, I don't know if you can, perhaps not an indication, but the way it's sat there, it doesn't look like it's centred properly. But ever since I got this, it came with me Elite from new when I got that. And the minute I connected this up, I found that the centering was not quite right. You know, you'd have to, it'd be moving up. On Gears of War, for example, your character would be moving upwards or whatever, your cursor would be moving upwards, and you just tap it down and it stop, it'd be centred. It's almost like it just pulls in one way slightly more than the other. It could be the springs inside, it could be something bent inside there, I don't know. But it's a really minor glitch. But anyway, so I've ordered some of these caps, replacement caps, you can see there. They're only a couple of quid for a pair, which is really good. They're not going to be the original part, they're going to be aftermarket things, but they look the same colour and stuff. These are obviously a bit grey and a bit brown, sort of browny, sort of faded, a bit dirty really. So I'll take this apart, put these on. We should be good to go. And while I'm there, like I say, I'll want to see if I can sort that centering problem out. And in order to get these out, you need a screwdriver that's got the security bit. So these are like torque, but they've got the pin in the middle. I forget the exact name for it. Yeah, I think they're just torque. They're not torques. Aren't they torques? Anyway, you can see there what we're dealing with. So I've taken 4 O's out, and the clearance with this my screwdriver is fine for the side holes and those holes. But as soon as you get to the ones at the bottom, the hole is just that little bit too deep. So I'm going to have to use a really thin, flat-bladed screwdriver to get in there. So I'll give that a crack. See how I get in. Okay, I got the first 6 screws out. There's a 7th screw hidden away under there that I didn't spot. So these two, the two that you can't get to, I found with those, if you just use the jeweler's screwdriver, and this one, it's one I've got where the bit's sort of half chipped off, so it's pretty narrow, but a blade with a similar sort of tip, I would estimate that about 1mm in width. If you got one with about a jeweler's screwdriver with about a 1mm wide blade, that's enough to get onto the heads of these little screws. And in fact, one of them, as soon as I put the screwdriver in there, twisted it, I heard a little snap, and the pin just came off. And the pins sometimes do that on these torque security bits, which then meant I could just put a standard hex jeweler's screwdriver in there, and they just come straight out, dead easy. So that's fine. I can put those back in afterwards. So yeah, I'll just get the casing apart here now, and we'll get to the thumbsticks. Okay, for a bit of fiddling in there, you can. I've managed to get it all out. I'll get the board out, I should say. You've got to sort of ease the caps off as you try and pull the board out, and it is pretty difficult. You end up having to pull this part as with the board. It all just comes out, bits fly everywhere if you're not careful. I've seen some people tape the buttons to start before you do anything, put some sellotape over all these buttons here just to hold them in. But I wanted to take them out, strip it all down, clean it all up. And you can see it's pretty crusty. You get sort of dirt and stuff all the way around the edges there, which I frequently clean out, but I just keep coming back all the time, and you can see it all on the inside of there. It's really crusty. And the same, look at that inside the trigger area there, where you can't actually get to clean it from the outside. It's just like years of muck built up, really. And you can see the state of the old buttons there compared to the new ones. I'll see if I can get a close up. This one's the one that's just worn down a bit. You can see the notches and stuff are worn off there. It's discoloured, disfigured, compared to a nice new one. And that's the one that was broken. You can see it's been. I tried to super glue that, but super glue doesn't work on this sort of thing. Really, it's rubber. You can see the bit there that just came out. Yeah, so these new caps, I've tested them. They clip on okay. Just to clean up this mechanism, clean up the board. There's a bit of I don't know, there's oxidisation or something there. There's a fair bit of actually around there. You can see that. You see it looks like a bit of almost like rust starting around those points there where moisture has got in, and it's probably from heat, because obviously your charge cable goes in there as well, so there's loads of, those points there are not looking particularly clean. So I'll clean all that up, resolder those points. There's not much else to do on there than just clean the PCB, I think. That side's not too bad. Same sort of thing again, some oxidisation on some of those solder points there, so I'm going to resolder those as well. Clean up the triggers, because look at the state of that on the inside, those buttons. Ugh, that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And then the final thing, just get some oil, I think some WD-40 or something into these mechanisms here for the sticks. Not sure I'm going to be able to do anything about the centering, but we'll see. Right, I've resoldered some of the joints on some of the connectors there on both sides and cleaned up the PCB. We've also got some WD-40 and these analogue switches here seem to be moving a lot freer. They stick a bit, you can get them to stick if you move them right to the top, but that's because they don't actually move that far when it's inside the, when it's got the, the nub on its stuff and it's inside the case. So I'm just going to reassemble this now. I've cleaned up the case parts, as you can see there, so I'm going to take a few minutes now and just bring this back together. Right, almost back together now. Just need to put the screws in. This nub was sticking. It was like you could move it there, let go, and it would stay there. And basically, what the bit that this fits onto, the plastic notch that sticks up, plastic stick, if you like, that this whole thing clips onto, and it goes into that little hole there. All I did is just touch the top of the soldering iron, just to melt it by maybe a quarter of a millimetre. So it still, it still looks right and everything. But the difference is this just sinks a little bit lower into that recess, and it's because it's an aftermarket nub. It's still sticking a bit there actually. I don't know if it needs to be moved a bit more. Can you see if I hold it together really tight? Just watch this. So it's stuck at the bottom. It's yeah, they're pretty cheap, these aftermarket ones. It's not so bad there. I've got the feeling once this is all together and that's pushed down properly into its position, it'll probably be okay. It's still sticking a bit at the bottom. I'm going to give that another go now. Just use a little file, just file a tiny bit off the top, just so it sits a little bit lower. Okay, yeah, the reassembling now, all okay. As I've just shown, you do need to shave a little bit off the pin of the actual stick. Well, sorry, yeah, the top of the stick, just the very top of it. Shave off maybe, just a fraction. You can use a soldering iron like I did to start with, just to melt it down a tiny little bit, and it's dead easy. You don't get any fumes off it, thank God. Rather than just smooth it with a craft knife or a what's his name, a file or something like that, just to make it nice and smooth. And then as a result, these sits just that fraction, an eighth of a millimetre lower, so your problem's resolved. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.